Good noon, all of you. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible. Hi, Varun. Hi, Priyanshi. Good noon. I'm well. I hope the same for you. A very good noon to all of you who are just joining or have joined. So, today is the last session of this series, Important CAT VARC Questions, the 10th session. In the previous 9 sessions, we have discussed quite a few verbal ability questions, meaning parajumbles, parasummary, both types of parajumbles, and RC passages as well. Right? Good noon, Karthik, Hardik, Dipankar. All right. Hi, Akash, Dipesh, Pragya. Good noon, good noon. So today as well, I have brought one RC passage for you, three VA questions, and these are the RC passage is absolutely fresh, created by our content team. Okay, so you won't feel that you've already seen it, it appears familiar or anything like that, right? So let's begin. Hi Ashi, Akash, Krishna, Devendra, Krishna. Good afternoon, good afternoon. All right, all right. A very good noon to all of you who are joining. Let's go. Yes, let's begin. So, I've already told you the agenda for the day. Yes, this is all we are going to do. Let's come to our passage. So, first, we'll do the passage. Okay, we'll try to read with a sense of urgency and not at leisure, right? Once you're done with the slide, you will quickly tell me so that I can proceed to the next one, right? So, read with a sense of urgency. Let's begin. Done. Done this one as well. Going to the next one. Done. Great. Let us move to the questions then. Right. So, according to the passage, the inherent paradox about art is. Yes, tell me, what is the inherent paradox about art? Let's see who answers the fastest. In case you wish to go back, let me know. I will go back. Gondoliers are those people who ride a gondola. D. Okay. All right. Others. So Pragya, Ashi, Krishna, then Amrit, Chirag, Priyanshi, Dipankar, Varun, Maitri, Manuta, Dhyanish. Okay. Everybody has so far said D. All right. Yes, yes. We are on the first slide as asked by you. Hardik Pandya says B. Anushka says B. What is a paradox? Let's learn that as well. A paradox is something that is logically contradictory. Okay. So primarily, when we use it in our RC passages, we are using it to highlight a contradiction, the inherent contradiction that the author might have highlighted. Okay. So those who said D, you're absolutely correct. Why? Because right in the first sentence, we begin with a contradiction about art. We say that Western culture has been reluctant to assign an inherent value or a purpose to art, even as it continues to hold art in high esteem. So it respects art, but it does not really assign an inherent purpose to it. So that is paradoxical, right? You respect something, but you have not really assigned any inherent value to it. You probably don't think that it has some inherent value. So that is the problem, and this is captured by option D. So D is the answer. It is not understood well by most. Some of you answered B. This most makes it wrong. We do give an instance of some people misunderstanding it, right? So, for instance, one would completely misunderstand this painting, right? So, some people may misunderstand it. Yes, that is there, right? But most people misunderstand it, that would be extreme. So, B could be eliminated easily. Okay, all right. One of you says A also. It shocks the audience while at the same time offering a healing touch. I understand that both these aspects are given, that okay, art can be therapeutic, okay, and it does shock the audience, some audience, right? However, this is not what the author finds contradictory. So while it is true, while both these things are true as per the passage, they are not the contradiction that the author highlights, right? That's why A is not the answer. Okay, so I hope this makes sense to you. All right. Now, coming to the second question, none of the following statements can be inferred about art except which one? So, first, interpret the question correctly. It is simply asking you what can be inferred. That's it. Let's see who answers the fastest again. All right. So, Pragya, I understand your concern. Pragya is saying that she was a little doubtful of any value in the previous question. However, you have to compare your options. So, that was the paradox that was highlighted in the beginning, and the others were not really the paradoxes that were highlighted. Okay, C, A, all right. What else? C, a lot of C's I'm getting. All right. A also I've got. Okay. All right. It can jolt us from dissatisfaction. Okay. I've got one B also from Hardik Pandya. Okay. Right. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Uh, Good that nobody has marked B. We haven't really discussed the beauty of art in this RC passage. That has not been the focus. It can jolt us from dissatisfaction. So while the shock value of art is given, when does that shock work? See, shock is pleasing to its adherents in its assumption that our primary problem is complacency. So it will have that value for you when your primary problem is complacency. It will jolt you from complacency, from this self satisfaction, not from dissatisfaction. So that cannot be the answer. It is false as per the passage. The author is saying that the shock value in a way of art will work for you when you are very complacent in your life, when you're very self satisfied with where you are, you don't want to progress. Right? So, that's why A is incorrect. We are left with B and C. These were the two close ones. Its ultimate goal is therapeutic in nature, right? So notice this thing and this thing. It can bring about self improvement. Its ultimate goal is therapeutic in nature. Now, let's have a look at both these ideas. We do talk about the fact that its value lies in the capacity to encourage, console, and guide us towards better version of ourselves, and to help us live more flourishing lives individually and collectively. So we do talk about self-improvement here. Similarly, we talk about it again when we talk about a psychological improvement. The overarching aim is psychological improvement. So there is some improvement happening in us, right? Now let's talk about the therapeutic value. So we say that resistance to such a notion is understandable today since therapy has become associated with questionable or at least unavailing methods of improving mental health. So questionable methods. So when it comes to saying that art is therapeutic, there is some resistance there. There is some resistance there. uh, then it explains that okay, it's ultimate that art is therapeutic in one sense, in this sense that it helps us to cope better with existence, right? In that sense it is therapeutic. While several predominant ways of thinking about art appear to ignore or reject this goal, their ultimate aim is therapeutic as well. So there are several uh, prominent ways of thinking, okay, major ways of thinking about art that appear to ignore or reject this goal, but their ultimate claim is therapeutic as well. Okay, so it is their ultimate claim that is therapeutic as well. Can I say from this that the ultimate goal of art is therapeutic? We are saying art is a therapeutic instrument. Okay, from this discussion that has happened, where I know that some people are rejecting it, okay, some people are rejecting this notion, can I then say that the ultimate goal of art is therapeutic? Or would I be better off saying that, okay, it can help us to become better version of ourselves, it can help us to cope better with existence, it can help us to bring about a psychological improvement? So, if you have to choose between these two options, which one should you ideally go for? Yes. So, Chirag, last line says the ultimate claim of those people who reject that art is therapeutic. The ultimate claim of the people who reject that art is therapeutic is also therapeutic. That is what they are saying. So, we should go with B here, okay, and not C, right? Because this is distorted. Why is it distorted? Because what did we say? The ultimate claim of people who reject that art is therapeutic is therapeutic as well. So उनका claim therapeutic है. Their claim is therapeutic. Okay. So that is why this is distorted. It can bring about self-improvement. That is something that is reiterated at multiple places. So we would be better off marking B as the answer. Okay. And why are we rejecting this? Because we don't know in what sense therapeutic has been used here. If it has been used in the sense of the psychological therapy wala therapeutic, in that sense, the author himself does not agree with this. The author himself is saying that we are not calling art therapeutic in that sense. Right? समझ आया सबको, I hope. All right. So B Bangalore is the answer here, not C. So please pay attention to such words such as can, such as is. Ultimate likha tha passage, may I agree, but in what context was it written? And did the author not dispute that we are not calling it therapeutic in the sense of the psychological therapy? We are calling it therapeutic in the sense that it helps us to cope with our existence. Okay, so this was a tricky question. I agree. All right. Now, which of the following, if false, will validate the claims made in the passage? Again, interpreting the question stem correctly is important. One student particularly stated that she spends a lot of time when the question stems are like this. So what you do is just make it simpler for yourself. If false will validate means if true, it will not validate. If true, it will not validate the claims made in passage. That means there is this one option that is not going to support what the passage is saying. Right? So you have to just find out that one option. Let's see. Anushka, no, it said none can be inferred except which one? Anushka, none can be inferred except which one? So the question was, what can be inferred? C, all right. A, okay. If true, will not support. Okay. So I've got two C's, two A's. What else? What else? Okay, D also, C as well. All right, all right. Okay. So again, see here in such questions, in case you're not sure, okay, where was this mentioned, as in, was this mentioned or not, you go to the appropriate paragraphs. So let's check all of these, right? Art's propensity to be boring, banal is boring and mundane, right? Very routine. So art's propensity to be banal and conventional is appealing to people. Right at this stage, doesn't the passage say that the art's shock value, the fact that it can shock you, right? That is appealing to be people, and not really the fact that it is conventional, traditional. We haven't really discussed art's traditional or boring qualities in the passage. So, right at this stage, it appears to me that A is highly likely the answer. B says, poor minds may not get much fulfillment from art. Okay, may not get much fulfillment from art. Let's have a look. Was this stated? Yes. Ultimately, however, it is a limited response. Art is a limited response. Art may not really help much to those with impoverished thinking, where your thinking is impoverished. So, poor minds in that sense, right? Timid or ungenerous reactions, where you are, you tend to give very timid, or you are not very generous, let's say, you're not very kind, you are mean, okay, your spirit is mean, in fact. In that case, it may not really help you a lot. The author states this. So, this one is supporting. This is supporting. Okay. How about C? A couple of you said C in the beginning. Art is highly regarded and valued by Western societies, but they do not know why. So we said this, no, that they hold art in high esteem. It's not like it's not respected. Okay, but they fail to assign an inherent value to it, an inherent purpose to it, right? So they respect it, but why they need it? Why is art needed? What is the purpose of art? That they don't know, right? They haven't really understood that there is an inherent value to it. If you read it further, Though we no longer seem comfortable saying so, our reverence for art, our respect for art must be founded on some basis. What is that timeless basis? That art is good for us. So, this they have not been able to assign yet. If we don't believe this, then our commitment makes little sense. So, while we are committed to it, while we respect it, but it makes little sense if we don't assign a purpose to it. In what way may art be good for us? So now the other author tries to answer this. In what way is it good for us? What is the inherent value there? Right? Okay. So I come to this again, and art is highly regarded. Yes. Valued here is different from assigning it an inherent value, a value in its own. Okay, so you might value something in the sense you might respect it, you might hold it in high esteem, you might revere it, but at the same time, you might not understand that okay, it has an inherent value of its own, it has a purpose of its own. So, this is a problem as can be seen from para 1. Moreover, even in the exam, you do not have time to do this much analysis, right? You can't go about reading, rereading para 1. So still you just compare it with A. Which is worse, right? This says the opposite of something that is there in the passage. So of course you will prefer A over C. Okay, while this is iffy, okay, in the first line this appears iffy, but this is the opposite. So of course I'll reject this. I'll reject this. Art can be misunderstood by many. Yes, this part is there, right? We gave this example of the dollar painting, right? And earlier also we talked about how it can be misunderstood. So even this is in line. There's only one answer, A. Okay. Does this make sense? That while C is iffy, A is the opposite. So when I compare my options, I have to see which one fares worse. And this is the one that is worse because ये तो बिल्कुल opposite ही बोल रही है, right? So if it is true, it is not supporting it at all. It is opposing it rather. Do we get this? The question type that is asked in a complex manner and the simpler version of these, like, okay. So Saurabh, see this, no? Whenever you have a question statement that asks you which if false will do something, that actually poses a real challenge for students because what they start doing is वो पहले हर option का ना false imagine करते हैं, right? They imagine the opposite of every option and then they see whether the opposite is supporting or not. So rather than doing this for every option, why don't you change the question stem for you? Whenever you are asked this if false question, you write if true here and add a not to whatever is written here. So will validate है तो मैंने will not validate कर दिया. Will invalidate होता तो मैं will not invalidate कर देती. Right? और फिर उसको समझो मतलब क्या है इसका. Will not invalidate would mean okay, it is not going to refute. That means it is probably going to support. Oppose नहीं करेगी. Probably support कर सकती है but oppose नहीं करेगी. Will not validate मतलब support नहीं करेगी. Oppose कर सकती है, support नहीं करेगी. So this is how you understand it for yourself. Okay. All right. But Dipankar, there are so many inference-based questions in CAT. How long will you run from them? How much can you run from them? Yes. Uh, Question 4. Which of the following statements about the positive effects about art is the author least likely to endorse? So which of them will the author least likely support? Easy question. Type. Now, look at this. Tell me the answer. I'll answer this, Janni. B or D, okay. Can we go back to the passage once? Yes, sure. So, all right. This one is an easy question. When, where? This has been created by our content team. Okay. So, absolutely. The author is not negative about art. That I can understand from this passage, right? So, disruptive shock, psychological self improvement, already discussed. About the past, last paragraph. Okay, creating havoc, not at all discussed. So, absolutely, D Delhi is the answer here, right? Uh, Two, yes, Hardik. On an average, two can be very easily done. Okay. In fact, for your easier passages. So, what was the trend last year? Two passages were easy, two were either moderate or difficult. So, in those easy passages, you could actually attempt all four questions. In these moderate to difficult, in one passage, let's say you could go for three, in one, you could go for two, or in some slots, both were difficult, so you could go for two out of those four, right? So, this is how it fared last year. So, on an average, to the बहुत आराम से you can attempt, right? Yes, absolutely correct, Gaurav. So I hope this made sense to you. Now, there was a question that how much time should we spend on passages like these? See, unfortunately, we don't have this luxury to decide that I'm going to spend more time on this RC passage, right? So in 30 minutes, if you have to attempt four passages, then on an average you have about 7.5 minutes per RC passage. Now, what I would suggest to you is don't make such a passage your first passage. This is that kind of a passage that I brought today, right? I would not make it my first passage, and for me, I think the choice becomes easier because the moment I read the first couple of sentences, I realized that okay, it looks like slightly philosophical and about art. So, art and philosophy. So, I would probably not make it my first RC passage. I would rather go for something that's more topical in nature, right? So, spending time perhaps 8 to 9 minutes, 9 minutes, or at the most 10 minutes if you are very quick in the other passages, but you can't afford to spend more than that. Time ही नहीं है, right? Okay, this is two of the questions were of course tricky here. Question number two was tricky, right? Um, then question one was easy once you went back. So let's label. Some of you are asking what is the level? Easy, difficult, or tricky. Then coming to this one, I think because of the options, I would call it easy to moderate, not difficult, because ये बिल्कुल ही opposite था as to what was given in the passage, right? And even this was on the easier side. So all in all, I would call this a moderate RC passage. Moderate because in terms of reading, it requires a relatively higher level of comprehension. In terms of questions, two of them were definitely easy for you, right? If not all. Yes. Yes, questions weren't very tough. Agreed, Amrit. I agree. So three of them I found to be easy to moderate or easy. All right. Now, coming to our next question for the day. This is a odd sentence out parajumble. Let's see what you say. Your time starts now. Odd sentence out. All right. Let's see what you think. Prachi, Pragya say two. Okay. Varun, Prajwal two. Chirag two. Okay. Okay. All right. Hmm. Okay. Devansh says 3. Okay. Others? Gaurav says 5. Guru says 4. All right. Then we have also got 3. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at this. Let's try to understand this. See, of course, here the answer is very absolute in nature because this has been taken from a paragraph as it existed. Now, um, so very easy pairs to find out. When I say in short, her entire autography, as Michael Hoffman put it, is at play. All right, her. We are talking about someone. Okay, the translator. Right, the translator is mentioned here. So this one 4 probably comes before 3. Yes, I mean in the sense that if I have to make pairs here, so 4 3 perhaps becomes a pair and therefore neither can be the odd sentence out. The translator brings her entire background to bear, her life experiences, her intuition and her vocabulary. In short, her autography, as Michael Hoffman put it, is at play. Right. So in what is she bringing her entire background? uh, in doing some translation, right? So translation's failure often used as an excuse to dismiss translated literature as not really the author's work is in fact a primary source of its richness and value, right? So translation's failure is in fact a source of its richness and value. So uh, what do you think this failure would be about? uh, Often used as an excuse to dismiss translated literature as not really the author's work, we are saying that that failure is in fact a primary source of its richness and value. Why? Because when somebody translates, they bring so much to the table. Yes, they are bringing their intuition, their vocabulary, their experiences, their entire autography. So that's why translations become very rich because of this reason. So even 5 belongs. It comes down to 1 and 2. Yes. Now you must have related one with this that, okay, we are talking about failure of translation and we are saying that it is absolute. But do you see this that here the tone is negative and here the tone is positive? And moreover, we are appreciative of the experiences that a translator is bringing. So doesn't one appear to be contradictory with the rest of the paragraph? Anybody who captured this? So, um, one says nothing is the same in one language as in the other. So the failure of translation is absolute. It is calling translation, the effort of translation, a failure, right? Whereas the rest of the paragraph is trying to bring that, what you are calling a failure is in fact a primary source of its richness and value. Because, see, translation relies on interpretation. And when someone interprets, they will use their life experiences, their intuition, their vocabulary in making these interpretations. Yes, they would bring their entire autography, whatever they have, right, to the picture, to the play. So 2 is not the odd sentence out here. 1 is the odd sentence out. Okay, this was a tricky one because of the because of the words failure and absolute. You tend to think that 1 5 is a pair, but one तो बिल्कुल ही dismiss कर रहा है, वो translation को failure बोल रहा है, whereas 5 is saying that no, what you're calling a failure is in fact the primary source of its richness and value. You get this? One is the odd one out. Okay. And it would not have been the odd one out when, let's say, the author had phrased it like this that so some people cite that the failure of translation is absolute. Because right now it looks like this is the author's opinion, whereas the author is of this opinion also. So the author can't hold contradictory opinions. This would not be the odd one out had the author begun like this, that some people think that because no language is same as the other, so translation is an absolute failure. Then the author would contradict it. Then it would belong. अभी यहाँ पे ऐसा लग रहा है author के contradictory opinions है, which is not a very good way of writing something or opining something. ठीक है? So 1 is the odd one out here. All right. Let's come to the 6th question. It's a para summary question. Okay. Read it, attempt it, tell me the answer. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm hiding a bit of the text. 1, 2, 4. All right. What else? 4. Okay. Others. 3. Okay. Chirag says 3. Dhyanesh says 1. Pragya says 2. So I've got 1, 2, 3 for everything. All right. Let's have a look. Others, please respond. No, very few responses I've got on this. Why do we become so lazy when it comes to para summary? Okay. 3, 4. All right. 2. Amrit says 1. Okay. So I'm happy that I made a difficult question. Okay. Let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it. So just a second. I made some changes in my PowerPoint that have not been saved. Otherwise, I would not have come in front of the text. Anyway, this person's concern is a very legitimate concern. While we all of us must have heard about cancel culture. Yes, so you express an opinion and everybody then starts bashing you, okay, and says, this person should be cancelled, he or she holds such an opinion. So canceling here means that this person should not be allowed to say such things, right? That is cancel culture. Now, the author has a very fresh take on it. What she says is that what we assume today is that cancel culture is everywhere. That if you say something, people are going to cancel you. Okay. In fact, the Times conducted a survey where people said that they believed that retaliation and harsh criticism against opinions now constitute a serious problem. So, cancel culture constitutes a serious problem. But then she says that, but then substantial number of Americans also believe the 2020 election was fraudulent without that being the truth. So, she's saying that sometimes people's opinions are not the truth. And in case we criticize them, that's not cancel culture. Criticizing such opinions, that is not cancel culture, right? So she says, I began to think that the way these pro free speech advocates, you know, free speech advocates, people who are supporting free speech, actually pro was not really required. The way free speech advocates now talk about speech suppression. So the way we are discussing, how speech is suppressed is actually leading to this perception among the people that, oh, cancel culture is everywhere. Whereas some of the criticism may be legitimate criticism, it may not really be cancel culture. And that this perception that cancel culture is everywhere, and if I say something I will be cancelled, uh, okay, so this fear itself, the author thinks it's very unfounded. Okay, also it says that it leads to concern in other people also. So now people think twice before criticizing anyone. अब ये भी हो गया क्योंकि सब कैंसिल कल्चर के बारे में इतना डिस्कस करने लगे. नाउ पीपल विल थिंक ट्वाइस बिफोर क्रिटिसाइजिंग एनीवन. And this concern itself is now suppressing the free speech of these people. Now, people are not responding to various opinions. This is the opinion of the author in very simple words. Okay. So I hope you've understood what the last line is trying to say. कि अब कोई retaliate ही नहीं कर रहा, अब कोई criticize ही नहीं कर रहा, because सबको लग रहा है कि अगर उसने criticize किया, then he or she will be accused of cancelling the other person. And that is now leading to a suppression of free speech. Okay, because I am not able to retaliate, that's suppressing my free speech. समझ आया सबको? Has everybody understood this? So now let's attempt the paragraph. First says the author believes that the assumption and concern about the pervasiveness of cancel culture has become a bigger threat to free speech than cancel culture itself. Any such comparison present in your paragraph? That while cancel culture is also a threat, this is now a bigger threat. No comparison. Till the time my paragraph explicitly compares, I will not write something in the summary that compares. So that is why one is not the answer, because this comparison is not there. The author is highlighting a new problem that people are now afraid of criticizing, and that is suppressing free speech. She is not saying that it's a bigger threat than cancel culture itself. Eliminated. Two, the author thinks that the concern that they will be cancelled, okay, might be stopping people from expressing themselves freely, thus paradoxically threatening free speech. No. This is just describing cancel culture. What is it doing? It is just describing cancel culture. The author is saying the opposite, that today people are afraid of criticizing people. Okay, eliminated. Vote for three. Yes, my vote also for three. Three is the answer. Good, good, good. So, the author thinks that the assumption about the omnipresence of cancel culture and the way it is discussed, the way people are talking about it, may be producing a concern about it. So now people are really concerned about cancel culture, and therefore they're not expressing criticism, and that is paradoxically suppressing free speech. This is capturing everything that is there in this paragraph. Okay. Fourth is not the answer. Why? Fourth has a major problem. A lot of you said four in the beginning. Yes, a lot of you said four in the beginning. Why is four not the answer? There's a major problem with it, because it says that this may be in fact promoting cancel culture. Promoting cancel culture. Cancel culture promote nahi ho raha hai. Rather, people are now afraid of any harsh criticism. So cancel culture is definitely not being promoted. This is false. This is false as per the passage. That's why 3 is the answer. Acha, who gave 3 the fastest? Let's see that. So, just a second. I think Chirag said 3. Yes, Chirag said 3 the fastest. Okay, Chirag, you asked this question when you give it the fastest. I've noticed this. Clear to everyone. So this was tricky because of the time constraint, I would say. Otherwise, the argument that was made here, I would not say it was very difficult to understand. The options had very clear red flags, bigger threat, so comparison, promoting it, false. Okay, this was cancel culture itself. So it became tricky because you had to process a lot of things within a time constraint. Okay, all right then. Coming to our next question, our parajumble, we have to make a sequence here. Let's see. Make a sequence, tell me the answer. All right. So I've got some responses already. Not difficult, this one. Opening sentence, I think everybody is correct. 3 is the opening sentence here. The afternoon, we begin by discussing the afternoon, then we'll come to dusk. The afternoon was wild and snowy, and so we passed it in the schoolroom. The afternoon. At dusk, I allowed Adele to put away books and work and to run downstairs. So she ran away. So then this person was left alone. Left alone connects with the fact that she allowed Adele to go. So left alone, I walked to the window, but nothing was to be seen there. Why? Because twilight and snowflakes together thickened the air and hid the very shrubs in the lawn. 3142. It can't be 3124. Some of you have given this as the sequence. See, first of all, you say at dusk you allowed Adele to put away books and go to run downstairs. Then if you start straight away talking about it, twilight and snowflakes together thicken the air. So first you will go to the window, first you will see, then you will see what you will see, right? So This 4 has to precede 2. It's a very logical narrative sequence here. Why not 3, 2, 1, 4? 3 and then 2. Suddenly twilight ekdam se aa gayi. You were describing the afternoon first, right? The afternoon was wild and snowy and we passed it in the schoolroom. Twilight and snowflakes together thickened the air. So it looks like, there's a very abrupt jump. So is it happening in the afternoon only, right? Is it happening later? When is it happening? That's not clear. So when you have a clear marker at dusk, you will first talk about, you will first introduce that, okay, now dusk has happened. So this is the effect of dusk. Okay, Harsh? There's no purpose of 2 after 3. Yeah, I mean, it does not make a pair, right? All right. Twilight should come after dusk one. Yes, Pragya, correct, correct, correct. I hope this makes sense to you. This one was an easy one. 3, 1, 4, and then 2. Okay. So such questions should be attempted. All right. Any query in what we have done today? All the passages, any words that you did not understand, any para jumble, para summary that was not clear. So this series ends today. You have your marathon. I hope you remember this. The 8-hour non-stop marathon on 21st and 22nd. Do attend the VRC sessions, okay? Some very interesting questions lined up for you. And of course, when we attempt questions, we do go through the concepts also indirectly. Right, so do attend them. This will help you for your VRC. Also, Saral sir, Gaurav sir, Naveen sir, they'll talk to you about quant and LRDI. Okay, so 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Right. Mock solutions of VRC. That's great. I'm happy to have this feedback, Chirag. Okay. Yes, yes. Today at 7 p.m. I'll see you. We do have a last lab session where we'll be discussing mock 19. Okay, we'll be discussing mock 19 there. So I want all of you to come prepared with your queries. Okay, don't think that we will resolve. I'll give you all the time in the world to read the passage and then we'll resolve everything. You have to have attempted mock 19. We will discuss your problems in mock 19. Okay, all right. Yes, 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 absolutely. So this you already know of. I don't need to state it now. It's very obvious that we'll be analyzing CAT 2022. Do join us. Okay. And yes, do recommend this to your friends. CAT 2023. We are really working hard on our material. Okay. On our lesson structure, everything. Okay. So do recommend this to your friends. CAT 2023. And yes, for non-CAT mocks, you can consider buying this mock series. Plus, there are a lot of practice questions also in addition. Okay. uh, so Instagram, Facebook, we are there. Yes, you can join us. YouTube also, you are watching us on YouTube. I hope you've subscribed to the channel now. Yes, and Telegram is somewhere we can stay connected. Okay. Still some doubts. Okay, great. Then Dipankar, we'll discuss them today in the evening. Okay. Hope the session helped. You guys also have a great day ahead. Welcome all of you. See you in the evening. Bye bye.